All right, today we're diving into something that feels like it's pulled straight out of a sci-fi novel. It's called the Abyssal TrueFlow, and it's been dubbed the Sovereign Ocean Restorer. I mean, with a name like that, you just know there's a story here. So let's figure out what this thing is all about. Right off the bat, you get a sense that this isn't your typical engineering project. The whole thing kicks off with this line, where collapse meets restoration, resonance becomes infrastructure. I mean, that's practically poetry, right? It immediately tells you we're dealing with a big idea, not just a big machine.
So that's the big question, isn't it? What is the abyssal true flow? Is this a real thing we're going to see in the water tomorrow? Is it a blueprint? Or is it something else? Let's get into it.
Okay, first you have to get how they talk about this thing. It's not just a boat. They call it a sovereign archetype, an unmanned emissary of clarity. The language is so deliberate, so grand. It's framed as this mythic hero for an ocean in trouble.
And its mission? Get this, to transmute contamination into resonance. They don't just say clean up pollution. No, they say transmute. It's this idea of taking something awful and chaotic and turning it into something pure and harmonious. It sounds almost like magic, you know?
So you've got this incredible myth, this grand idea, but for a story like this to really hit home, it needs to feel real. And trust me, the level of detail they went into for the Abyssal TrueFlow is, well, it's impressive. Let's look at the nuts and bolts of this mythic machine.
So what are we looking at? Well, it's a vessel that's somewhere between 60 and 90 feet long, and it's built to stay out at sea, all by itself, for up to 90 days straight. Just quietly cruising along at a steady 3 to 8 knots. Can you picture that? This silent guardian just doing its work day in and day out. And it's packing some serious power to do that work. We're talking a baseline hybrid system putting out 300 to 800 kilowatts. That's a mix of fuel cells and batteries at its core, but it can get an extra boost from renewables like solar kites or even wave energy buoys. The whole thing is built for endurance. And here's how it all fits together in what they call the structural codex. You've got this super stable composite trimaran hull. It moves with quiet electric thrusters, so it's not disturbing the marine life around it. Then there's that hybrid power system. And then, and this is my favorite part, it commands a swarm of tiny robotic emissaries, little micro ROVs, to go out and map the seafloor. It's not just one machine, it's a whole ecosystem. Okay, so we've got the body. But what about its purpose? How does it actually do the restoring? Well, they call it the purification ritual. It's basically a super advanced multi-stage filtration system that acts like a kidney for the ocean. It's a 4-step dance. First, it sucks in seawater, filtering out any big pieces of junk. Second, it uses these specialized materials to latch onto all the nasty stuff. Third, it uses some seriously advanced tech to break down what's left, literally at the molecular level. And then, the final, most important step, it checks the water to make sure it is absolutely positively clean before sending it back out. And what exactly is it targeting? All the worst stuff. We're talking hydrocarbons, so oil and fuel spills, heavy metals like copper, lead, mercury, and the big one, microplastics. It's designed to filter them out down to a ridiculously tiny size, just a fraction of a micrometer. And that final step is the whole key to this sovereign idea. It has a final sensor gate, like a bouncer at a club. It checks for everything, turbidity, chemical signatures, you name it. And if the water isn't perfect, it doesn't go back out. Period. That's how you guarantee the process is actually healing the ocean, not just moving the problem around. But a machine this smart, this complex, doesn't just run itself, right? It needs a brain. And that gets us to the intelligence, the controls, and, maybe the most fascinating part, its whole ethical rulebook.
What's really cool is how it's controlled. It's a true partnership. You've got an AI core that handles the day-to-day stuff, planning the route, avoiding ships, running diagnostics, but there's always a human in the loop. Through a VR link, an operator can literally teleport into the vessel's senses and take direct control whenever they need to. And this whole operation runs on a really strict set of rules. The mandate is crystal clear. It's here to restore, not to take anything out. It has to follow all the maritime laws, of course. It's got airtight protocols, so it doesn't release anything it shouldn't. And here's the kicker: total transparency. Every piece of data it collects, what it takes in, what it puts out, is all streamed live to a public dashboard for anyone to see. So let's recap. We have this amazingly detailed, ethically driven, almost mythic machine designed to heal the ocean. The plans look solid, the science seems plausible, it all sounds incredible, right? Maybe. Almost too incredible. This is where we get to the real heart of the matter. If you dig deep into the source material, way down at the bottom, there's a kind of disclaimer, and it says the whole project was authored as Mythic Infrastructure, Cinematic Indictment, and Sovereign Broadcast. Now, that doesn't sound like an engineering firm or startup, does it? That sounds like an artist, a storyteller. And that's exactly what this is. The Abyssal TrueFlow belongs to a field called speculative design. The whole point isn't to build and sell a product. The point is to create these hyper-realistic, fictional concepts to get us to stop and think, to spark a conversation about the world we live in and the futures we could be building. So let's just say it plainly. The Abyssal TrueFlow is not a real machine. It's not for sale. It's a story. It's a beautifully crafted thought experiment. You could even call it a diagnostic tool for us. It's designed to make us look at it and ask a very simple, very uncomfortable question. Why don't we have things like this? And that really leads to the final question this whole project leaves you with. It's a powerful one. If the job of this fictional machine is to restore the ocean, what is the job of its story? What is it trying to restore in us? Maybe it's our imagination. Maybe it's our sense of hope. Or maybe it's just our will to actually get up and build a better world. And that's something worth thinking about.